All right, good afternoon, everyone. So today I wanted to make a video for you because we're going to start something slightly new. You can see from what's on the screen right now that it still involves rational expressions and simplifying stuff. But this new topic is called complex fractions. Now, all that means is that you just have a fraction within another fraction. Right, so you can see within this larger overall fraction, right, I have two fractions in my numerator, and I have an additional two fractions in my denominator. Now, at first, you may be looking at this, and you may be somewhat overwhelmed. It does look like a lot, and I agree, there is a lot going on here. Hopefully today, what I'm going to be able to do is break this down to a couple small steps for you. And that way it makes it significantly less stressful when you look at something like this, because overall, all of the skills that you need to simplify this, you already know. Right, now we're just going to take those skills and use them in a slightly different context with a slightly different looking problem, but you already know what's going on. So don't freak out, right? We're going to get through it together. It's not that big of a deal. So the very first thing when I look at a problem like this, right, let me make a dotted line here so we can break this up. Right, I'm going to deal with my numerator and denominator separately. So one big key here, right, we're going to deal with the numerator and the denominator separately. That is the key to making sure that you stay sane during this entire process and that you don't get caught up in all of the crazy work. We're going to deal with the numerator first, we'll deal with the denominator second, and then we'll put it all back together at the end. Right, so my step one over here, right, dealing with the numerator, let me copy that down. Right, in dealing with the numerator and in dealing with the denominator, all I'm going to do is combine them into a single fraction, right? You can see your numerator has two fractions in it, your denominator has two fractions in it. So what I'm going to do here is just combine them into a single fraction. Make sure I have my do not disturb on. Okay, right. So here, this is just subtracting two rational expressions now. I'm not going to go crazy with this, however. Right, you can see my first fraction is missing the m minus 4. The second fraction is missing the m minus 3. And then I have two unique factors for my denominator. Now here, I'm going to suggest that you simplify. I'm going to suggest you simplify your numerator just so it looks less busy when we try and put this thing all back together. All right, so I'm going to do that. Let me do it in a different color so we can see it, right? So that's 16m minus, oops, not 48, 64. There we go. My brain works sometimes. Minus 4m plus 12 because of the negative, all over m minus 3 times m minus 4. And so if I simplify that out, I get 12m minus 52 over m minus 3 times m minus 4. So that is my numerator. Now I'm going to take this with us when we go to the next page. Let me see here. Make this a little bit bigger. Perfect. Right, because now that same process, I'm going to do the same exact thing with my denominator. Right, so if we go to the next page, right, this is just to remind ourselves over here, right, this is our numerator, right? So now I'm going to do the same exact process with my denominator. So if we go back and we take a look, right, my denominator now, this 16 over m squared minus m minus 4 over m minus 3. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to take my denominator here and combine this into one single fraction. So again, you notice first fraction is missing the m minus 3. Second fraction is missing the m squared. And then I just have these two unique factors. Again, I'm going to suggest that you simplify this just to make your life a little bit easier. So I'll switch back my colors here. So this is my 16m minus 48 minus m to the third plus 4m squared. Ooh, I think that's factorable. Oh no, it's not factorable. That's too bad. Over m squared times m minus 3. So I'm going to rewrite this just so it, let me get rid of these stray marks down here. All right, I'm going to rewrite this just so it looks a little bit nicer. Rewrite it in standard form with my descending powers here. All over m minus 3 times m minus 4. Now, if you remember, the big thing we were doing in this whole problem was dividing, right? Numerator divided by denominator. So the third step, let me box this just so we know this is my denominator, right? I guess my second or third step, depending on what you want to call it, but the next step is now I'm just going to take my numerator, right? So I'm going to copy down my numerator from where we were, 12m minus 52 over m minus 3 times m minus 4. And I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of my denominator. Right? When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so I'll put it as step 3. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. Right, times, now if I flip my denominator, m minus 3 times m minus 4, whoops, I actually made a mistake there. Look at that. This isn't an m minus 3, this isn't an m minus 4. This is an m squared. Oof, that could have been bad. Right, so times m squared times m minus 3 over that big mess now. Right, now you notice, nice part here, I can cancel some stuff out. The m minus 3's cancel out. And that's it. Now I'm done. Now I just write my final answer. I'll go back to blue here as m squared times 12m minus 52 all over negative m to the third plus 4m squared plus 16. Oh, let me fix that. It's not neat. Plus 16m minus 48. Now, for this particular unit, we're not going to worry too much about excluded values. It's not super important. As far as I'm concerned, we dealt with it in all the other ones. I'm not too worried about it. But that's your final answer. So if we go back and we recap a little bit here, right? Beginning of it looks super ugly, right? I've got 5 total fractions, 2 in my numerator, 2 in my denominator, and then the whole big thing is a fraction itself, right? So to break it down for ourselves, what we do is we deal with the numerator on its own, and then we deal with the denominator on its own, right? Our goal being to combine each one of those into one single fraction to make my life easier. So I do that with my numerator. I then do that again with my denominator. Then, because at the beginning my overall operation was division, all I do is take my numerator and multiply by the reciprocal of whatever my denominator was. Simplify what I can, cross out what I can, leave what I can't. I hope that was helpful. Tuesday, right, meaning tomorrow when you guys are watching this, we're going to have a full class Google Meet in the afternoon so that we can talk more about this and I can get questions from people that hopefully I can make another video addressing all of the things that are slightly confusing. So I understand that this is new and it's a lot to take in. So for class day, I'm only going to have you do 2 examples off of the worksheet. The answer key will be attached as well. I'll have you guys submit it so I can give you some feedback and point some stuff out. And hopefully we all have a pretty decent understanding of it after today. All right, so I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. See ya.